This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror to have a nuclear weapon.
Finally, they're going to have to sit and answer questions.
They're being asked to go against their sincerely held beliefs if they don't agree to renounce their faith.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Target Tehran. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Mark Webster. For now, it remains a war of words between Washington and Tehran, centered on whether the Muslim clerics running that country are truly willing to give up their pursuit of nuclear weapons. Something President Trump said during the State of the Union last night won't happen on his watch.
One thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen.
Iranian leaders responded today by saying Trump is lying about their pursuit of nuclear weapons. This as the two sides are due to meet for talks tomorrow in Geneva, while U.S. forces continue to build up all around Iran.
You got the Ford aircraft carrier now in the Mediterranean, again off the coast of Israel, the Lincoln carrier, which is in the Arabian Sea, at least a dozen guided missile destroyers. Overall, the largest buildup this region has seen since the invasion of Iraq in 2003.
That's CBS's Charlie D'Agata in Israel. 4 people dead, 6 injured after the Cuban Coast Guard opened fire on a Florida-registered speedboat. The Cuban embassy in the U.S. says the boat was detected in territorial waters near Cuba, and when Border Guard troops approached the vessel, they were shot at. Border Guard troops returned fire after the commander of the Cuban vessel was injured. Another Trump topic during last night's lengthy oratory was the pursuit of alleged fraud against government programs, something he says Vice President J.D. Vance is now in charge of.
The Department of Justice is going to be investigating and, where possible, throwing fraudsters in prison.
Vance on Fox. Among states in his crosshairs right now, Minnesota, California, Massachusetts, and Maine. Here come the Clintons. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and former President Bill Clinton will soon sit for their depositions in the House probe of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation.
Finally, they're going to have to sit and answer questions under oath.
Oversight Committee Chair, Republican James Comer, who says he's got plenty of questions.
Epstein was in the White House 16 times while Bill Clinton was president, and then Bill Clinton flew on his plane 27 times post-presidency.
Hillary Clinton will be deposed tomorrow, followed by former President Bill Clinton on Friday. Some health news next. Concerns over the current and future cardiovascular health of American women. Cardiologist Dr. Karen Joint-Maddox tells CBS the numbers are alarming.
High blood pressure is already super common, and it's just continuing to rise. Almost 60% of adult women will have high blood pressure by 2050.
And she says the issues are impacting ever younger women.
We're forecasting an increase in obesity among girls from about 20% to almost 32%.
The doctor warns that unless the trends reverse, those women will be facing chronic health issues for most of their lives. Some faith news next. In a win for foster families and religious freedom, Vermont officials have finalized a new policy clarifying foster families need not abandon their religious beliefs to qualify as foster parents.
They're being asked to use inaccurate pronouns, gender transition procedures. They're being asked to go against their sincerely held beliefs. If they don't agree to sign on the dotted line and renounce their faith, they're being categorically excluded to the point where they can't foster or adopt any child, even an infant who doesn't know what gender is, but just needs a stable and loving home.
Alliance Defending Freedom Senior Counsel Johannes Wiedbaum Defonse says state adoption agencies were going through huge hoops to avoid placing kids in Christian homes.
States like Vermont, states like Washington, Oregon, these are states that are in desperate need of more foster homes. There are some horrific stories where they've placed children in temporary, unlicensed placements like hospitals, even police stations, or a child is sleeping in a social worker's office because they don't have anywhere else to go. So while this is a big win for religious liberty, it's ultimately about the children.
He predicts the case will have a ripple effect across Vermont and the rest of the U.S. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, a recap of our top regional stories and highlights from today's Inside Out feature with Martha Manikas Foster.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. It will be colder tonight and tomorrow. Of lake effect snow and flurries that could deliver a few inches of fresh fluff to the east and southeast of Lake Ontario. A few flurries and partly cloudy skies elsewhere. Low temperatures tonight, teens and low 20s. High temperatures tomorrow, upper 20s and 30s. There'll be some sun at times. Friday, a good deal of sunshine with more moderate temperatures and highs near or just over 40 degrees.
All right, thank you very much, Kevin. Now checking the stories making news where you live across New York and Pennsylvania. Police have released the identity of a 22-year-old Niagara University student in Western New York who died Tuesday in what is believed to have been a weather-related car crash. Police say Niagara sophomore Bradley Burden spun out of control in the city of Niagara Falls and ran into a light pole. Speed, road conditions, and inadequate tires all believed to be factors in that crash. A second student in the vehicle was hospitalized. Burden was a management major and member of NU's club hockey team. Pennsylvania Democrats will remain in control of the State House after victories in a pair of special elections yesterday. Here's Family Life's Sarah Harnish.
Yeah, the Democratic majority in Pennsylvania State House appeared to solidify their hold on power last night as Anna Tabercio defeated Republican challenger Robert E. Smith Jr. in the race for House District 22 in Lehigh County, while Jennifer Mazzocco looks to have won the race for District 42 in Allegheny County. Their wins will double the Democrats' current majority in the chamber from 2 seats to 4. Republicans hold a similar slim majority in the state Senate. Sarah Harnish, Family Life News.
Thank you, Sarah. Staying in Harrisburg, some key hearings underway today. The Pennsylvania state budget due June 30th, but last year, you might remember, it didn't get done until November. Republican Senator Devlin Robinson is in the room and tells ABC 27 the budget is just too expensive.
Show how far apart, the governor's lofty goals are. I always say that the governor's budget address is a wish list, and then we have to get in, the legislature has to get in and actually bring it down to reality. That's something that all Pennsylvanians can work with.
There were no real fireworks in today's hearings, but yesterday things did get testy over on the Senate side. State police were answering questions, and some senators were frustrated that police authorized renovations to Governor Shapiro's personal home after the arson fire on the governor's mansion. This is all round one, step one in the budget process. Back in New York, the Roman Catholic Diocese of Syracuse announcing a set-aside of $176 million for survivors of abuse. Bankruptcy Judge Wendy Kinsella approving the diocese move. It's the final step to get it out of Chapter 11 bankruptcy reorganization. An independent arbiter will handle the distribution of those funds, $76 million of which will come from the diocese insurance carriers, the other $100 million from a variety of diocese resources, including $45 million from area parishes. And New York is now officially a Purple Heart State, a new designation that affirms its support for veterans. It means the Empire State officially recognizes the valor and sacrifice of Purple Heart recipients and affirms the state's commitment to supporting all who served. Benjamin Pomerantz is the State Department of Veterans Services Deputy Counsel.
This gives us a whole new window of opportunity to connect with Purple Heart recipients, to honor and remember their service, and then to say, let's talk about the myriad ways that we can serve you.
The big plus in the designation, there are now staff dedicated to making sure Purple Heart recipients across New York get all the benefits they qualify for. All right, up next, highlights from today's Inside Out feature with Martha Manikas Foster. Her guest this time around is biblical counselor Catherine Weber, author of a Gospel Coalition article on using a redeemed imagination to help free us from the power of anxiety.
How would you describe what's going on in our bodies when we face what feels like nonstop changes or challenges?
Our nervous systems are essentially designed to operate in 2 modes, fight or flight, and then rest and digest. And so when we face a threat, and whether that threat is real or perceived, when we face it, in God's good design, our bodies respond automatically. Internally, hormones like adrenaline and cortisol flood your system, and they act as messengers to ready your body for action. Mm-hmm. And you can think of it like a captain of a ship saying battle stations. And then in response, normal body functions get suspended to prioritize action related to whatever threat we're facing.
Aha.
The problem comes, though, when the nervous system stays on high alert continually. It's like, think about it when you're in your car. If you're holding the gas pedal down while the car is in park, this constant vigilance is going to burn out our bodies. I think this is where God's invitation to find refuge in Him when we're afraid, to calm and quiet our souls, as Psalms 131 would describe, that these aren't invitations that are separate from our physiology. They're actually really good news, profoundly good for our bodies.
Yeah. So, Catherine, you say that repurposing our imagination can become a powerful force for clarity and courage. So I think we need a definition, Catherine, of imagination, because I think a lot of us associate the word with daydreaming or childhood play. So what does it mean, and how would we reclaim or repurpose our imaginations?
Dealing with anxiety is complex. Tending your imagination is one important piece, but it may not be the whole picture. So with that said, I think you could say imagination is an ability that we have to form ideas and images that aren't right in front of us. It helps us see beyond immediate circumstances, and it lets us think creatively and problem solve. But it's never neutral, right? Like, imagination's either going to be stewarded under Christ's lordship or co-opted by the world, the flesh, and the devil. This became more visual for me when I watched Inside Out 2, and this scene where anxiety is enslaving the imagination center and just forcing this constant creation of rehearsals of worst-case scenarios.
Okay.
The reality is that our imagination is active and will work, but it'll either work for us or against us. And the real question is, who is discipling it and to what end? To put it really simply, I think imagination is to make an image in your mind.
Imagining the best or imagining better. Rooted.
Infusing truth. Yeah, rooted in truth. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Could you describe a few practical ways that we can confront anxiety with this repurposed imagination?
I'd say start with a question of, like, who's holding the reins of your imagination? Because when anxiety is in the driver's seat, our imagination tends to narrow, and it's going to lock you into, like, only bleak outcomes. And the things that are not there are, there's no mercy, there's no grace, there's no Holy Spirit at work in and around you, there's no redeeming power of Jesus in play. And then I think ask the question, what are you feeding your imagination? You are what you eat applies to more than just the food we consume, because what we consume mentally and spiritually shapes us. So am I immersing myself in things like social media feeds? Am I constantly obsessing over the news? Am I watching horror movies that constantly inundating me with fearful or dark narratives? And those things are going to serve to strengthen anxiety's hold on the reins of your imagination. On the other hand, if you're nourishing your imagination with beauty and goodness through good fiction, beautiful art, stories of God's faithfulness, you begin to stoke to life kind of what you could say is like a holy offense against anxiety. A third question you could ask yourself would be, what helps me orient towards God? So you don't need to completely change your context to reclaim imagination. You might just need some new lenses to view the world around you. This isn't a one-time exercise. It's an ongoing way of life as we follow Jesus. And it's not based on wishful thinking. It's actively filling our inner world with the promises and character of God.
Biblical counselor Catherine Weber on today's Inside Out feature with Martha Manikas Foster. You can hear the entire feature and all of our Family Life original news features at Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and FamilyLife.org. This is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Sports betting is everywhere today. Ads during games, apps on our phones, even conversations at work. But how should followers of Christ think about it? Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. Scripture doesn't mention sports betting specifically, but it gives us clear principles to guide our decisions. First, gambling often appeals to the desire for quick gain, and Proverbs warns that wealth gained hastily tends to dwindle. Second, betting shifts money from stewardship to speculation, placing God's resources at risk for entertainment. And third, it can quietly cultivate unhealthy habits, dependence, or distraction, pulling our hearts away from trust in God. For Christians, the question isn't just, is this allowed, but does this help me honor the Lord? Discover the best Christian financial articles, podcasts, and videos by visiting our website, faithfi.com, or by downloading FaithFi, Faith and Finance from your app store.
Thank you, Rob. Still to come here on the 5 o'clock report, an unlikely hero to the rescue with a baby's life at stake. His selfless story after Weather with Kevin.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. We've got a cold night ahead and a chilly day tomorrow, this in the wake of a cold front. But behind that front, high pressure will build in with brighter skies and more moderate temperatures as we head toward week's end. In the meantime, it will be colder tonight and tomorrow. While lake effect snow and flurries that could deliver a few inches of fresh fluff to the east and southeast of Lake Ontario. A few flurries and partly cloudy skies elsewhere. Low temperatures tonight, teens and low 20s. High temperatures tomorrow, upper 20s and 30s. There'll be some sun at times. Friday, a good deal of sunshine with more moderate temperatures and highs near or just over 40 degrees.
Thank you very much, Kevin Williams. And finally, at 5, Chicago is called the Windy City for good reason, and the winds around Lake Michigan's Belmont Harbor were howling last week. At one point, so strong they blew a stroller into the harbor with an 8-month-old girl inside.
I see a stroller getting blown into the lake, and the lady's screaming.
That's Leo Cundiff. He can't swim. But when he saw that youngster go into the frigid waters, that didn't matter, later telling WXYZ from his hospital bed.
I could tell she was too panicked to do anything, so I just was like, I guess I'm jumping in because I wasn't going to let that baby die. That'd be crazy.
Others joined Leo's rescue effort.
I'm just glad that the stroller was up and not face down. The baby dipped under a couple times, but I was able to keep her up, and she was breathing and crying when we got her out.
The baby checked out okay at the hospital, as did Leo.
I hope she has a really cool future, and I'm happy I was there.
So are a baby, a mom, and a whole lot of other folks. And that's the world we live in for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Thank you again for joining us. I'm Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.